Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, engaged people of the world, welcome to Denmark, welcome to Copenhagen, welcome to 2 weeks where we are to perform what is most difficult in politics, to make difficult but necessary decisions now in order to address mounting problems of the future.
We've just been through a period where energy was free, almost, where the cost of fossil fuel energy was close to zero. And that's informed so much of our culture. And it's also fueled a consumption culture of the second half of the 20th century, particularly in North America, but also the rest of the developed world too. And people are very frightened of losing that.
December 2009, Copenhagen. Country leaders from all over the world are gathering once again to try to reach a binding climate agreement. After the failures of the Rio Treaty from 92, the Kyoto Protocol from 97, and the fact that Kyoto expires in 2012, the pressure on the politicians for real change is stronger than ever. Al Gore's movie The Inconvenient Truth and his subsequent win of the Nobel Peace Prize has made even more people aware of and care about climate change. But will the outcome from Copenhagen be any different? Will the change be up to the politicians or the people? Let's take a look at some of our options in the environmental issue. If we set up a simple model with a column for action against climate change and one for inaction, then we put up a row for a future where global warming is false and one where it turns out to be a fact. What is the worst case scenarios within each future? Well, if we take action and it turns out to be false, there will be severe economic costs, and other areas where the money is needed will suffer from it, which may lead to a sort of global depression. If we choose to do nothing and it turns out to be false, we'll still have to face the possibility of an energy crisis if we don't find more effective renewable sources of energy. Then we look at the scenario where climate change is true and we did take action. There will still be huge costs involved, but in this case it will have been money well spent, because the effect of global warming will be minimized. What happens if it turns out to be true and we have done nothing about it? Environmental change, catastrophes, economic problems, political problems, pollution, and a possible energy crisis. Which column would you prefer your politicians chose? But what are the people doing to help the climate in their own way?
I have been the coordinator lead for organizing this event, Culture Futures.
I'm an academic. I teach for the Open University in the UK. I write about environmental policy and politics, and part of my mission here in Copenhagen is to prepare some research and teaching materials.
With a Polish organization, ecological organization, we work near the Bella Center and give people the seeds of oak tree.
We formed this ministry, like a government ministry, but it's called the Ministry of Trying to Do Something About It.
We're here today because we are the United Nations Association, and in that sense we are working to promote the United Nations.
I'm from Australia. I'm an environmental student, so I'm interested in these issues, and I'm here to listen to some of my heroes speak actually. So.
Som individ, att om jag väljer att ta bild, det är okej, men jag måste vara medveten om konsekvenserna. Varje liten bit bidrar ju i det stora hela såklart.
Vi är en del i en europeisk grupp som heter Reclaim the Fields, som vi håller på att mobilisera folk till en rörelse för att få fler unga människor engagerade i matproduktionen som ett sätt att komma runt kapitalismen. Den förhoppningen jag har är väl snarare att det här mötet i Bella Center, att det misslyckas, kollapsar och att det inte blir något avtal.
Vi bygger på något vi vet kommer rasas på en tvivel. Rädsla och fasa på det som vi byggt som ska vara säkert och tryggt, som de sagt ska fungera om vi ger lite mer än vi Tänker lite grann på varann, säger en sanning som är sann. Tänker lite grann på varann, säger en sanning som är sann. För det är vi som ska betala, som nu står högst på er skala, över de som skulle hjälpas. Nu är det vi som ska stjälpas, kastas omkring. Man fattar ingenting, så då växer en sak av allt tjat och allt prat om att något borde göras. Som sågas röst kan höra sånt som låter bra för talarstolen, tills man märker fast violen. Tänk lite grann på varann, säg en sanning som är sann. Tänk lite grann på varann, säg en sanning som är sann.
Now you can hear me, as you probably know, or have imagined, there is some bombing, some banging, some sound behind us. We don't want the police to control our demonstration. It's very important that we choose our fight and not the police. To stand together, fight together, keep united throughout the part, and to see police and stop demonstration in two parts. Stay together, talk to each other, don't be nervous. We're here to comfort each other, and we will keep you updated on what's happening. This is a legal demonstration. Police, keep your fucking hands away.
Tänk lite grann på varann, säg en sanning som är sann. Tänk lite grann på varann, säg en sanning som är sann.
On the 12th of December, over 100,000 people marched. 968 people were detained by the police, and after 12 hours, all but 13 people were released without further charges. 159 protesters from the 12th and 13th demonstrations have made an official complaint to the police for unjustified arrests and for detaining people for up to 5 hours on the freezing cold asphalt. But how easy is a policeman's job during such an event? What goes on in his head?
Man är van vid att jobba i grupp, och man är van vid att till exempel behöva vara kommunikativ i en svår situation. Att faktiskt kunna prata med folk även om situationen är ansträngd. Det har vi sett exempel på att alla inte klarar av att förhålla sig lugna i en sån situation. Men har man rätt utbildning och man är rätt förberedd, både mentalt förberedd, men också har en erfarenhet utav vad man kan förväntas mötas utav, så är det så goda förutsättningar man kan ha.
So what kind of changes will the future have in store for us? With the results from Copenhagen, the plan to keep the increase in global temperature below 2 degrees will fail. But this plan is needed to prevent the worst effects of climate change. Early summer 2010, the leaders will meet for a 2-week negotiating session in Bonn, Germany. Another climate conference will be held at the end of the year in Mexico City. Countries like India and China have already made it clear that they don't want a binding climate agreement this year. Therefore, it is important for the Western countries to start reducing emissions first, since we are the biggest consumers. Then hopefully the rest of the world will follow.
In addition to political agreement at the formal international level, which is always going to be weaker than you need it to be on an issue like this, because there's always a time lag, there's always a race to the bottom, if you like, in terms of commitments. Collaboration, yes, but collaboration, consensus, these things are necessary, but they can sound like rather flat words. They feel like words that have had all the blood sucked out of them. But actually, I think this is where culture plays a role. Cultural work, cultural conversation, film, TV, puppetry, arts, in provoking us to recognise the scale of the moment we're living through.
Waiting for something